Hello, this is Sim. Welcome to Module 2. We just wrapped up Module 1 where we talked about limiting beliefs and self-sabotage and destructive words using in your vocabulary. I hope you enjoyed that module and have implemented some of the practices that I discussed in part of that course itself. But next, this is an exciting module where we talk about breaking free of negative emotions. We all go through negative emotions in our life. And I really think this is a way to help eliminate some of those fears that we all have in our lives. And I think negative emotions and how to break free from them is critical to understanding as part of this full course. So this is the, halfway point of the course where we talk about negative emotions. We've already touched on the limiting beliefs and the self-destructive thought behaviors. So this is a perfect transition to get into the negative emotions. So let's kind of, jump right in here. One of the first things that we want to talk about here is identifying these negative emotions. You've probably noticed that anger and fear make your heart beat faster and your neck muscles tense up. Maybe you get goosebumps or your blood pressure rises. Either one of the cases could work for either situation. So these reactions are just your body's way of telling you that it's under duress. So constant anger causes stress on your heart, which can lead to cardiac arrest. So arguing with someone for a long time can lead to exhaustion. You should take heed and protect yourself from these corrosive emotions. Bottling up your negative emotions can also lead to, rashes, nausea, dry throat, headaches, difficulty sleeping. When you notice these symptoms, try to determine the reason. People suffering from these ailments often visit doctors for relief, but very seldom is there an identifiable pathological cause for these symptoms. So if you're angry, depressed, or even anxious, it's important to find out why. And of course, do something about it. Don't just think about it and let it sit. Go out there and figure out why are you angry, depressed. Go to the root of the problem, and kind of talk about some of the reasons why we hold on to pain and anger, which comes perfect timing as that's the next slide here. It's completely natural to feel angry and hurt if your partner rejects you, but holding on to this feeling for years will make it impossible for you to move into a healthier relationship. Losing loved ones can make it difficult to move on, but holding on to these feelings for years only prolongs your unhappiness. So, what makes us cling to our negative emotions? The events of our life determine the patterns we follow. If, for example, your parents always told you to go to bed when you were naughty as a child, you may connect going to bed with negative feelings because they always told you to go to bed when you did something wrong. So you only go to sleep when you think you've done something wrong, right? So that's kind of where that logic is coming from. Let's talk about how your brain plays a large part in this process. So if your muscles get tense when you argue with someone, they'll probably tend to do so also in the future. In fact, this bodily signal can alert you to your anger. The trick, and listen carefully, the trick is to recognize these patterns and their underlying causes. I'm going to say that again. The trick here is to recognize those patterns and their underlying causes. Get to the root of the issue. And that's the only way you're going to come out about on top of that from your side. So I want to kind of look at some of the signs of harboring these negative emotions. And how you can tell that you're having these in your life. If you're acting in any of the following ways, which I'm going to talk about, you may be still in the grip of negative emotions. It's likely that you need to forgive someone or yourself for some past mistake. Let's kind of look at some of these signs and and talk through some of these as I list them out here. So the first one here, avoiding family or friends. You're probably avoiding certain family and friends for whatever reasons. You might want to cling to the ones that are actually putting positivity in your life. You don't want to avoid, family that's wants for you to do well, or friends, right? You avoid the ones that are negative and putting you down. I'm going to touch on this actually a little bit further. I just want to get through some of these key ones. How about believing that life doesn't hold good things for you in the future? Believe me, life does hold good things for you. That is a self-limiting belief, which you definitely can avoid just by going through Module 1. But I'm just trying to tie everything here together. But definitely don't keep a belief that good things are not going to happen to you. You need to have that expectation. Expect success. Again, another part of Module 1. This one speaks for itself. Drinking too much alcohol or doing illicit drugs. I'm not going to touch on that. That speaks on its own. How about this one? Constantly thinking of a painful event. Sometimes in our minds, negative thoughts come by default. And by that means you're constantly thinking of the worst case scenario. Pessimism is probably one of the most common things in our minds. And we tend to think about a lot of these painful things that we've gone through. And what it does is it creates that environment in our mind, and we just cannot move forward. You feel stagnant. That is something that that we all have an issue with, and I think when I get through some techniques on how to overcome all of these, it'll all be pretty clear what needs to happen. If there's mental health problems, of course, that can create negativity. Being unable to enjoy the present. So what does that mean? What that really means is, when you're constantly thinking of what you did in the past, you're feeling bad for yourself. Something went wrong, and it's a painful event from the past. So you're constantly depressed or something, and then you're always also thinking ahead, and you're stressed out about or have anxiety over something that's coming in the future, but you're not living in the now. So I touch on that here a little bit in this module, but that's what we mean by you're unable to enjoy the present. And here's another one. How about planning to take revenge or punish someone? That you don't want to get violent at any point, as we just came and saw that affects your heart rate and a bunch of other health considerations you want to, of course, look into if you're having anger management kind of issues or control. Definitely get that checked and speak to a doctor. Because that's only hurting your health and it's only hurting yourself. But there's a common way to cover all of these and beat them. And one of the most famous techniques in order to do that, it's called the EFT. And if you're not familiar with EFT, that basically means emotional freedom technique. So the emotional freedom technique is a technique that has recently become popular and is based on the findings of a Dr. Roger Callahan. So Dr. Callahan discovered that emotional discomfort is caused by an imbalance of energy in the body and mind. So this insight led to his creation of TFT. And what does TFT stand for? It's called Thought Field Therapy, which basically combined acupuncture and kinesiology. Thought Field Therapy, or TFT, was then streamlined into the clinically proven EFT, which is the Emotional Freedom Technique by Gary Craig, who trained under this Dr. Callahan. So just an interesting fact for you. But that's kind of what EFT sort of is about. But EFT can certainly help you let go of many of those negative emotions that we just talked about. And those can range from anywhere from anger, depression, lack of concentration, addiction, compulsion, that's a big one. PTSD, you may have heard that. A lot of people might have PTSD, especially our military, post-traumatic stress disorder, grief, anxiety, stress. I think I touched on that. But I would highly encourage you, if you have any of these emotions, and I'm pretty sure you do, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be normal if you didn't have any of these negative behaviors, because these are by default in our minds. Give this a try. I mean, EFT is definitely worth looking into. It can certainly help, and it can really bring you immediate relief. I mean, it's painless. It has no side effects. And the results are, usually permanent. So there's no risk involved actually to giving it a try. You don't even need to believe in it to achieve freedom from emotional disturbances as it really works at a more molecular scientific level. But let's I think that's all on EFT that I'll touch on here. But let's look at a second signal and why you might be harboring some other negative emotions. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Expecting too much. So, if you expect too much from yourself or from others, you're bound to feel frustration. So, no one is perfect. Accept your reality and the fact that life is unpredictable and you're likely to make mistakes. This way, if things don't work out according to plan, you won't get upset and you won't give up. If you depend on others for your happiness, you'll probably be disappointed. After all, you're responsible for your own joy. Also, blaming others for your misery won't bring you any closer to happiness. Instead, focus on what you have to be grateful for. You'll feel liberated because you no longer harbor negative emotions. Okay? Now, how about natural remedies? See, there are a bunch of natural remedies that you can do to control your negative emotions, depression or stress or whatever it might be. And there's a list of items that I can quickly run through with you to explain what you can do. And these are things you can do instantly. I mean, honestly, you don't need to wait weeks or months to implement this. You can do this right away. You might already be doing it, but maybe not thinking about it at this level. So maybe you can kind of expand on what you're already doing, and that will kind of help carry you forward. So the first natural remedy you can do, and I think it speaks the obvious, is exercise. All right, so what does exercise do and why is it so great and everybody's boasting about exercise? Well, exercise releases these things called endorphins, which foster a feeling of well-being or a sensation, right? So there was a study carried out by Duke University back in 2001. And what they found out that exercise is a more effective treatment for depression than antidepressants itself. Isn't that powerful? Exercising helped patients more that were having depression, clinical depression, than feeding them medicines as antidepressants. I know when I get stressed out, that's where I go. I'm at the gym, and I feel 100 times better. If you are the same way, probably when you feel stressed, you go straight to the gym or you'll go running or you'll do something. And the reason you feel better is the first thing I talked about. You release these endorphins, and that gives you that feeling of everything's going to be okay. In addition, when you go exercise, there are fewer relapses and there's a higher recovery rate. So you also develop self-esteem and confidence because you're getting trimmer and you're getting healthier. So it all is full circle. Probably my favorite item out of all the ways to deal with negative emotions is exercise. I mean, that would be at the top of my list, which is why I have it as number one. It is a huge breakthrough once you complete an exercise routine when you've gone through these kind of emotions. So, question is, but how do you motivate yourself to exercise when you're feeling down, right? That's always hard to do. You just had the worst day possible, and or maybe you were told you need to work out in the morning. And how do you get up when it's 10 degrees below zero or 30 degrees outside? How do you get yourself up when it's easier to stay warm in the sheets? Let me tell you how to do that. Start by doing small things like taking the stairs or walking to the store down the street instead of taking the car. That's a very small thing you can do right away and get a quick win. Here's another thing. You can try gardening, or if you have a pet, you can take the dog out for a walk. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Try to exercise in like natural surroundings. Being in nature just has a different type of soothing effect on the mind. You don't have to be in a gym to exercise. You can do them in your own home. Even if you have a small, apartment or something, you have space, you can do exercise. Nowadays they have DVDs and programs online, so you don't need to be in a gym. Don't think that because you don't have a membership, you can't lose weight or put muscle on. There are plenty of stuff you can do at a very low cost. Here's a simple thing I would suggest if you've not ever done any exercise. Start with walking. For example, maybe brisk walking, not jogging, but like a fast-paced walk. Try it for 30 minutes, and start slow. Start maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week at most. Because by doing that, there's a whole thing that by brisk walking 30 minutes a day, at least 3 to 4 times a week, you do cut the risk of diabetes by 50%. So the odds are in your favor if you, of course, take action and implement that into your daily life. It'll become a habit, so it's not something that's going to be you have to force yourself to do every day. It's just have to do it consistently for a set amount of time. 3 weeks is definitely what would create that habit for you. So plus, it's not hard on your joints when you walk. It keeps osteoporosis and many other diseases, including Alzheimer's or even Parkinson's, away. So lots and lots of benefits that I can go on of others, but we can talk more on some other aspects of the negative emotions. But exercise, I would highly encourage you to take that into your life. You can also try other types of aerobic exercises, such as dancing, tap dancing. That's pretty popular. Swimming, running, cycling, or maybe all three. A triathlon, right? You can do swimming, running, and cycling. But challenge yourself. Sign up for something. Get committed, and get a partner. Get an accountability partner. Get someone there that will keep you on your toes. To make sure that you're doing what you say you're going to do. That always helps. If it's just you, find somebody that you can call you at 6 a.m. in the morning or whatever it might be. You go to the gym and just make sure that you're going. So that's called an accountability partner. I hope that made sense. Again, I'm going to go back to a quote by a gentleman named Edward Stanley. And what does he say? What he talks about is those who think they have not time for bodily exercise will sooner or later have to find time for illness. And what he's kind of stating here and how I interpret it is, if you don't put the time in now to help you out in your health, you will be having health issues down the road, and you will be wishing you had taken better care of yourself. So get ahead. Don't be put yourself in that position. I think that's a powerful quote to help kind of prove that concept or bring it home. That's why I included that quote here by Edward Stanley. So anyways, exercise we just talked on. That's not the only thing you can do to get rid of negative emotions. Let's jump into the next one. It has to do with basically it's called pranayama. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's pranayama, and that just means deep breathing. You can see there how it's spelled. You can pronounce how you feel, but it's basically just deep breathing exercises. But according to the book Healing with Love, and this is by Leonard Laskow, as a medical doctor, negative emotions seem to reside in the right hemisphere of the brain, while positive ones are focused in the left side of the brain. So to balance your emotions, you can do alternate nostril breathing or pranayama. According to Laskow, pranayama will cause the consciousness to shift into the transpersonal dimension. Your illusion of separateness will disappear. Normally, the dominance of one brain hemisphere makes us feel alienated from our source. So this illusion of separateness eventually leads to illness. He also writes about our emotions and feelings creating energy forms which attract others that are similar. Thus, we draw to us circumstances and individuals that resonate with our emotions. This is how we create our own reality, right? So it's no surprise that pranayama is known to alleviate depression, anxiety disorders, and negative emotions. In research conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience in India, up to 73% of participants with depression showed significant improvement through this yogic exercise. In addition, the extra oxygen is calming and relaxing and will keep you in good health as well as improve your skin. The term pranayama means life force control. It is a powerful tool for purifying mind and body and raising your energy level. Basic pranayama is easy to do. The advanced techniques require professional guidance, but you don't need to get into the advanced techniques. you can just start with basic pranayama. And let's kind of talk about how to do a basic thing of pranayama, right? So the first thing you want to do when you start doing this exercise is sit up straight in a chair with a straight back to help support your spine. So that's the first thing. Second, use your thumb and middle finger for the exercise. So you're going to have your thumb and your middle finger connected. Place your middle finger on one nostril. Inhale to the count of 12 through the other nostril. Then pinch the nostril shut with the thumb. Now hold the breath for 20 counts. Lift your middle finger from the other nostril and exhale through it to the count of 12. Okay? If you're with me, I'm going to tell you what to do next. Next inhale from the nostril through which you exhaled. Pinch it shut with the same finger. Hold the breath for 20 counts. Okay, you should be holding your breath here for about 20 counts, just 10 more counts. Okay, and we are finished with 20. Okay, now lift the thumb from the other nostril and exhale to the count of 12. Okay, now repeat this whole process 10 times, alternating between the nostrils. Okay, so you can go back and do this 10 times, but using the same fingers and timing counts, inhale through one nostril and exhale through the other 10 times. Repeat with the other nostril 10 times. Again, inhale and exhale through the same nostril 10 times using the same timing counts, and repeat again with the other nostril. So that kind of gives you a basic pranayama you can do. You don't need to be in a gym. Again, you can do in your own home, sitting on your sofa or on your bed when you wake up or in the night before you go to sleep. So it is powerful. I would highly encourage to also use this as an option. If exercise for some reason does not work for you, you can always jump into the pranayama. Here's somebody who actually talks about a little bit on pranayama, how it helps. His name is, I might be mispronouncing, but it's Hatha Savatmarama. And they say, when the breath wanders, the mind also is unsteady. But when the breath is calmed, the mind too will be still, and the yogi achieves long life. Yogi is you. Therefore, one should learn to control the breath. So that's what I'm talking about with doing these breathing exercises. You will have more control over your life and your situation. And when you have control in the situation, you have control of your thoughts, which you can eliminate those negative emotions. All right. So what's another example? We talked about exercise, pranayama. Here's another interesting one, and you may have heard of it. It is called Tai Chi. So what is Tai Chi? Well, Tai Chi was invented by a Taoist monk in the, I want to say 13th century. Tai Chi has gained thousands of admirers in the West who practice this gentle exercise to reduce stress, improve health, and balance the emotions. So in China, Tai Chi is practiced outdoors during sunrise or sunset. The technique consists of slow and continuous bodily movements done preferably in open spaces, since it's based on the Taoist philosophy of being in harmony with nature and going with the universal flow. Regular practice gradually dissolves blockage of Chi energy within the body and between the body and the environment. Effects take a while to show up, but are certain if you practice 20 minutes every day. Tai Chi can also rejuvenate the body and keep you youthful. Every part of the body is used and there are no side effects. Research shows that it can prolong the lifespan and calm the mind. And here's kind of a quote from Cheng Man Ching. Tai Chi strengthens the weak, raises the sick, invigorates the debilitated, and encourages the timid. I love that quote. It drives that point home as well for Tai Chi and how it works and how much power it truly has. Now here's a concept that came about not too long ago that I've seen become very popular in a lot of forums and groups. And probably you've heard of it if you're into the personal development area. But for your emotional healing, using Reiki. Reiki is very popular. The practice of Reiki, which is an ancient healing system, which was used by the Buddha, but rediscovered by the Japanese, and this was by a professor. It was a Dr. Usui, I think it was his name, and what he says is he can help you balance your emotions, sleep better, and heal physical ailments. Let's talk about like for depression. More Reiki would be given to the head area, the throat, and the heart. Once you're initiated and become a channel for cosmic energy, you can make yourself calmer and more peaceful. Being calm is being centered. Thinking and acting from this center, you'll be able to avoid extremes. Stress won't have a hold on you. You'll be able to alleviate mood swings, fear, frustration, anger, or depression. Or you could seek the help of a professional Reiki healer. Either way, Reiki is very powerful, and you can take up some other books and stuff on Reiki. There might even be some courses, places you can go in your area you live, which kind of show you how to do Reiki. But for this discussion, I think it gives you a overall definition of what it does and how it can help you if you need it. I still go back to the first one I talked about, exercise. I can honestly tell you the benefits you get from that. In my honest opinion, it outweighs these others, but I know these others work just from other folks that I know that have done and given it a shot. So all of them are good. Pick one that works for you, and definitely you'll start to see those changes in your life and getting rid of those negative emotions. But let's see how Reiki can help transform your life and lead a nice, content life. There's 5 principles that we'll talk about. So let's kind of talk on those. So here are simple 5 principles that you can do today to transform your life. First one, just for today, you want to say to yourself, I will not fear. Next, you can say, just for today, I will not get angry. So there you're talking about fear and anger. Then third, just for today, I will honor my parents, teachers, and elders. So I won't be disrespectful. I will honor. So that's another good attitude, getting rid of negative fear. And then just for today, I will earn my living honestly. Okay, so you won't cheat anybody or do something dishonest. So you'll earn your living honestly. So you're claiming it. And then just for today, I will show gratitude towards everything. Giving gratitude is huge because the more gratitude you give, the more stuff you're going to be blessed with. Remember that. So continually be grateful for everything you have and what you have and what you're doing. It's going to help you very much. So these are just 5 principles of Reiki that will help you transform, and live that nice, content life that you're looking to do, or abundant life, right? You can see how these words become very powerful if you use them in unison. So Robert Jacobs, famous here, says, the medicine of the future will be energy medicine, and chemical medicine will be a subset of medicine as a whole. This is interesting. Probably 80% of medicine will be energy medicine, and 20% will be chemical medicine. I can honestly say he's probably got that right on the ball. I can see a lot of stuff going down as energy-related medicine versus some of the stuff you see that are chemical-driven. A lot of these drug companies are putting in the market, but really natural ways of getting stuff done is definitely the pattern that we're coming to see, and the trends you'll start to see in the marketplace. So I think Robert Jacobs here is just a little bit ahead of his time, but I can honestly say that will be something that you'll start to see very quick. I touched on here quickly on gratitude. I want to take a few minutes and just talk quickly on the importance of gratitude. When you're in an emotional bind, always remind yourself of the things in your life that are going well. So what do I mean? Begin your day with feelings of gratitude and think of your blessings throughout the day. Let's say like a blessing could be something as simple as, you get up and birds are singing in your garden, or loving a child, or loving pets. It will help you kind of gain perspective on the situation. Constantly observe your thoughts and weed out those that are negative, and then replace them with empowering ones, right? It's just substitute. You see a negative thought come in, you hit delete. I mean, you can honestly say delete out loud, and you'll start to see they'll go away, and then put in some good thoughts in your mind, and done. You've taken that weed out. Very similar to gardening, if you know sowing and reaping. It's a pretty much a similar concept. But definitely how gratitude plays a key role when you're talking about negative emotions. The more gratitude you show, the higher likelihood you're going to suppress those negative emotions and stay in a positive frame of mind. So here's another one good for you here. With gratitude comes appreciation. And of course, appreciation is the key for living honestly and in the moment. Untroubled by what has gone before and what could come, the perfectly lived moment will give birth to the perfect future moment. And Henry Ward Beecher has something he says here when he says, the unthankful heart discovers no mercies, but let the thankful heart sweep through the day, and as the magnet finds the iron, so it will find in every hour some heavenly blessings. Henry Ward Beecher, you must have heard of Henry Ward Beecher before. I think that drives that point home about being grateful and being thankful for what you have, as blessings will continue to come when you identify those blessings in your life you have today, because they're all around you. You're just not seeing it because you have too many negative emotions in your mind. You need to start substituting them with good thoughts. You'll start to see all the blessings that you have around you. That's important. Here's a cool concept, negative emotions. And I think this will be a good wrap up to this module. You might be doing it, you may not be. I know when I started, I was not doing this, but it is a powerful way to deal with these emotions, and it has to do with journaling. You might have heard of journaling before. You might have had a diary or journal growing up, but do you still keep a journal today? Chances are you may not, and that's perfectly okay. I mean, as adults, we may not keep journals around us, but let me tell you how powerful that can be. Once you've identified your negative emotions, the next step is to express the emotion you're feeling in words. So keep your journal, write it down in your journal, that emotion you're feeling. Research actually shows that writing about your feelings strengthens your immune system by alleviating the emotion. Pay attention to your symptoms and write them down too. Perhaps your body is telling you to stop being self-critical or easily angered. Maybe it's telling you to seek healthy relationships. Journaling can be a very effective tool in your arsenal against negative emotions. I mean, what I would do, I was give it a try today. Get a journal, go to your local store or grocery store, wherever. Get a journal and start this. I mean, honestly, pay attention to what you're saying and write down all the negative feelings you're feeling, and pay attention to the symptoms that come out of that as you're writing it. And your body will start to tell you is don't be self-critical on yourself, and don't get so angry easily. And start seeking those healthy relationships. So give it a try. I mean, honestly, you'll start to see a lot of good things that will start to happen. So Anthony Dewar kind of talks on that point. Is he says, I guess whatever maturity is there may be there because I've been keeping a journal forever. In high school, my friends would make fun of me. You're doing your man diary again. So I was always trying to translate experience into words. I thought that's a good quote by Anthony. But anyhow, that's kind of dealing with the negative emotions. I went over a lot of different exercises that you can do, and how to first identify the negative emotions, why you're having them, and then not just identify them and why you're having, but then a solution you can implement to handle them on a go-forward basis. We went through several different exercises you can do. We talked about exercise, we talked about deep breathing, we talked about Reiki, and we touched on journaling. And being grateful, I'm sorry, and then you have gratitude and journaling. So this module really pretty much gives you many, many powerful strategies for letting go of those negative emotions. My suggestion to you is find some technique that resonates with you and take action and put them into practice. So all this is great. You can go through the modules, but if you're not implementing, nothing's going to change in your life. You have to do some practice. Pick one strategy and start from scratch. and see how it helps you. Start with exercise. Maybe here's a plan. Start with exercise, and then as you're exercising, keep a journal, and just do those two things and keep it daily. Do not miss those. Make those commitments. Get that accountability partner. As you're doing this, you'll enjoy a new serenity and passion for life as you break free from the limits of these negative emotions and discover the joys of a life filled with positivity. It's all there sitting and waiting for you. I really hope you take action and start to develop this positive mindset so that you can avoid these negative emotions and remove those limiting beliefs and those self-sabotaging behaviors. This is your chance for a new life, a new way of doing things. Create your own self again. You are the architect of your future. Where you go tomorrow is how you think today. And this is all to get into the mind to eliminate those fears and conquer them, and then become a new person and become renewed. I think you want to say renew the soul. So I hope that made sense. I mean, that pretty much sums up our module 2. It kind of went with module 1. But the next module I just want to prepare you is talks about. So now we've kind of discussed negative emotions, and we've gone through limiting beliefs. But now when you've done all that, you've got all those negatives out of your mind. What do you do next? And what I talk about in module 3 is the whole end of the course for Fearology. Is we're going to talk about developing those strengths that you have. And at the same time as developing your strengths, you're also going to be shown how to develop your confidence. Because if all those negative emotions are out of the way, which we've gone through many exercises, from this point on, you can just put in those positive, which are developing your confidence and your strengths to go after your dreams. And that's how we're going to sum up this whole course. And you're going to start to see how everything ties together. But nothing will happen until you take action. So there are some important exercises in module 1 as well as this module. And make a plan, and I wouldn't even start module 3 if I were you until you have done module 1 and 2. At least watch this once or twice, twice I think at the least, just so you can soak it all in and start implementing, and then jump to your next module 3, which is all about confidence and developing your strengths. But I think for now this will cover this module for negative emotions. I sincerely look forward to seeing you on module 3. Which will cover the last module of the Fearology course. I really hope that you're finding this very helpful to implement in your life. Again, you have to implement it in order to see some difference. But I know if you've come this far, you are serious and you are wanting to take action. So congratulate yourself for coming this far and trying to develop yourself and to better yourself. So it's only going to create wonders in your world. So with that being said, thank you for coming into module 2, talking about negative emotions and how to handle. And we will jump into module 3 next, which will be developing your strengths and confidence to go after your dreams. All right. Thank you very much. And